Hello, this is a tutorial. I'd like to talk about Autodesk Forge. As a program, you can provide access to BIM360 database. You can share the data with your client. And also I will talk about how you can use GitHub to download the existing package and how you can deploy your app through the Microsoft Azure. So there's a lot of high-level discussion here. Instead of going to step by step, I just want to show you generally how this data flow connect the different programs together. The first one, I assume you're already familiar with Revit. Maybe you're also familiar with the BIM360 as a cloud-based database. Autodesk allow you to publish your Revit model into BIM360 database. And here the file is usually saved under the hub, under the project, then you have different version. So here I just want to show you really quick for people not really familiar with Autodesk 360, and here I can show you Autodesk BIM 360. Apparently I already have the login as administrator. So here you can see the hub under my name, and you can see multiple projects. If I go to the account administration, you'll see several projects is under my name. Okay. And for example, each project, if I go, you can see a bunch of files hosted right inside. Okay. So you can see the username. If I switch to project management, you can actually see the individual Revit file shared in this hub. Okay. So if I open, you can see the 3D model. All right, so this is the environment in the BIM360. The question is how we can actually share this, push this to a web interface, allow your client to access. So this is how Forge can play a very important role. So first thing I will do is go back to this diagram. I need to make a connection between the BIM360 and Forge, right? So the first thing I will do is create a Forge app access to my BIM360. So here we can see, I will close this one. If I switch back to administrator, project administrator, and then I go to the, I believe I have to go to the, not account manager. Actually, I have to change my role. Back to, back to that. Yeah, I have to go to my highest level is account administration. Then here in analytics, actually not here in the apps. Yeah, so in the apps, you can see many different components available for BIM360. Most of them you have to subscribe to pay the membership fee. But here I want to show you, you can create your own customized integrations. So here you can see I create a new custom integration, which is based on the Forge API. And here, if I go to details, I can actually see the information about this Forge API created. So this is actually based on a new Forge application you can set up under your Forge account. Right. So here, I think the only thing you really need to be sure is the Forge API's ID to make sure they do match. So here I will show you example. If you create a new, right? So you can set up the access to your BIM360, you probably want to show I am a developer. Then here you can actually make sure you have this BIM360 account available. Then you have your Forge ID, client ID available. Then you can give a name here. Okay, so this is how you can set it up from the BIM360 interface. So now let's go to the Forge. So if I go to the Autodesk Forge, if this is the first time you load, you can actually just go here, Autodesk Forge. I already logged in, so here you can see once you log in, right, this is my account. You can create a new app directly here. So I will go to Get Started. Again, if this is the first time you use it, I highly recommend you watch some of the basic tutorials about how to set up the basic modules here. So here I will just go ahead to My Apps, and here I can create an app. Right? So I just want to show you TM Viewer. This is one I created long time ago to set up a BIM360 API, data management API, and a model derivative API. So these are the three modules. And also have client ID, client secret. You can give a name. The callback URL, this is actually important. In the future, I'm gonna deploy this into the Microsoft Azure. So this is actually the URL of my deployment. But you can put something temporary, and later you can change this back. Right? So the whole point to do this is the client ID here need to be matched with the BIM360. So here, TM viewers, this new app, they should definitely connect to the same Forge client ID. So that's it, how you make a connection between these two. Basically, this allow Forge access your BIM360 account and see all the files under the hub, under the project. All right, so the next thing we want to do is actually create this module. This one is for BIM file viewer. It's basically access all the files under the BIM hub and display on web interface. So we do this through two steps. The first one is you download the code from GitHub, and then you open this code in the Visual Studio Code. Before you do that, just make sure you install the Node.js. So this is the library you have to have in your local computer. So here is the GitHub files. I will give you the link right here, source code at GitHub. If you don't have access, just send me an email, I will add you in. So this is all the files available to open Forge to display 3D model through the Forge viewer. And if you want to dig into that, you can go to the links, learn Forge. You can basically follow the instructions. It's a pretty straightforward. I think if you follow them step by step, you should be able to recreate this by yourself. They cover all the basics. So to make things easier, I already download this GitHub into my local. So here you can see under the GitHub. Okay. And I already have this view hub model, all the file downloaded from the GitHub. So this is the local folder you can actually open with your Visual Studio Code. So if this is the first time you run this program, Visual Studio Code, you can download, just search, you can download this free program. If you open the folder, you can open the folder View Hub Model, right? And then you can see I will start a new run. I start a new terminal. Okay, so you can see all the files associated in this package. So first, JavaScript, you have the Forge tree, which can display all the files under the hub, under the project. You have the Forge viewer JavaScript, which can open the 3D model and then display the model with some predefined settings. The index is actually the HTML file. You can open the viewer, so everything is embedded. So that's basically the core of this viewer. But also you have other files like this JavaScript allow you to have authentication get into the BIM cloud. So this is all the code needed to set up client ID, have your client secret. What I also did is in this Windows system, there is a setting called environment variables. Okay, and here I'll just log in as administrator. Just show you really quick. So here you can go to the environment variables, and then you can set up your client ID, you can set up your client secret right there. So this makes things a lot easier. If you just want to do some local testing, you don't have to put the code client ID under the this package because people can see it. So it's more secure if you just set up a local environment variables. All right, so I'm ready to run. So I will do an npm and I will do the install. Right. So this is basically the first initiate this npm, and then you do the npm start. So basically this will open a port. I think I probably already did a couple of times. This port is called localhost 3000. Okay, so we will run that. This basically will open that HTML file, which gives you the interface. You can log into your Autodesk BIM, then you can see all the models. So this is how you can do the test in your local. I can't do the demo here because I already changed the client ID and client secret for another project, so it's not really working for local. But I will just show you how easy you can actually set up the GitHub. You can push the GitHub information directly into the Microsoft Azure, and this Azure will be the actual deployment hosting server for you to test. Okay, so I will show you how to do that. First, you need to log into Microsoft Azure. If this is the first time, just keep in mind for student and faculty, you can actually get some free credit from Microsoft, so it's actually free. That's pretty good. Then if you go to the portal, this is basically the main place. You can have all kinds of service, such as virtual machine, you can create app service. You can actually count how much they will charge you monthly against the free credit you have, right? So I'm not going to do any virtual machine today, but I will just go to the app service, and then you can create a new service. Okay, add a new service, and here I want to show you the service I already set up for the Forge viewer. So here the service name is Mingtang. If I go there, I can actually see the app I set up a long time ago. And basically what I did is you sign in a server, it automatically gives you this URL. This URL will be the actual address you will access this app in the future. So you might notice this URL is actually the URL I put it under my Forge account. So this is exactly the same callback URL. So that make the Forge and Azure are able to communicate to each other because this callback URL is linked them together. Okay. And for the Azure, I can show you here. What I did is in the deployment center, and you have to set up a connection to your GitHub. So here I already connected to my GitHub. I identified the GitHub project, and then I can just simply push all the files from GitHub into Microsoft Azure. So whenever you have an update there in GitHub, it's automatically detect the change and then update here. So it's really nice. You can also do the manual sync if you want. Right. So what happened is, if I check the log, you can see basically here's the history. I deployed and then it's success, and I'm able to run. All right. So that's all what you need to do to set up the connection. Just make sure you set this as a node based, right? Node.js, not Python, not other programming language. Yeah, so that's about the connection between these two. Between these two deploy center, you can set up the GitHub connection. So here I will show you really quick what exactly this app, the Forge viewer, will do. Okay. So here, if I go to this URL, actually I can go back to overview. I can see this is the URL of this app. I can just run this through this URL. It basically asks you, hey, what is your login name? This is the authorization you have to do through the Autodesk. Right. Once I allowed the access, then I should be able to access all the files under the hub. You'll see that is actually the hub name. This is basically the tree, the JavaScript tree. This guy is doing is basically loading all the informations under a tree. Right. So here I can see the trees. If I go to, for example, a project, I can go under the project. I can go to Revit. I can see different version of Revit file. So whenever you click, you basically are loading this file directly into this interface, right? So this is the different version of 1 to 5. And if you, I think this one probably not complete yet, but if I'm loading another one, you should be able to see the 3D model will show up. Right. So here you can basically see the 3D model. You can do all kinds of visualization from here. Okay, so I think that's it about the whole process of linking all the program together. Hopefully this will be useful.